just a prop. Should we be in the picture at all?
Oh yeah, you're in the picture, which is
very little, but.
Well, here we are today. It's times 3 again, and we're live from the Silver Spoon in West Hollywood. And we have our two gentlemen here showing off their latest projects from 1962. We have Don Sherman's album, live from the Playboy Club, and Harry Northup has his most recent book from 2011. Boy, this is new. Where Bodies Again Recline. A poetry book by Harry Northup, actor and poet and spell checker.
Very good. See why he's the golden voice?
Yeah, see, we got the golden voice. Okay, Don, what can you tell us about the old Playboy Club?
Oh, so what do you mean, Wes? We started the show then.
Oh, yeah, we're running. We're rolling.
I thought we were just trying to set up the optics. You see?
Yeah, no.
Technicalities, I never really excelled in. Now as I get older, I get very interested in the technicalities of the business.
Well, I think that's a good thing. So tell us what it was like to be in the early Playboy Club. I think that was 61 or 62.
Early Playboy
there was a waitress.
Really fascinating because
her name is Isella. She might.
It was a brand new thing, and
she thinks this is a
girls
Secret Service operation.
really looked upon an opportunity to be a bunny as though they were getting a Hollywood audition. They had no idea that basically they were there to be a waitress and to be entertaining and interesting to the clientele, which were the Playboys, the guys that belonged to the organization.
Do you know what you want?
Yes.
And it was, all the current acts were like very, very young acts, and it was a great environment for entertainment. It gave a lot of acts a lot of great experience. And I don't know why it didn't repeat success in the current day.
Well, I think it has to do with timing, like in the mid to late 50s and the early 60s, there was a lot of breakthrough sexually with the sexual mores, and so it was very important at that time too, right? The Playboy Club, the Playboy Magazine.
It kind of loosened everything up, and he came up with a whole philosophy of life.
And even the essays. I remember reading an essay by James Baldwin in the Playboy Magazine.
Great
essays.
Great writing on it.
Yeah.
But there were also some great pictures. Those pictures were marvelous. It was so inspiring.
They inspired you?
You would ponder a picture for about an hour before you went on to the next page. But it's just amazing how it worked so well at that time and became so exciting. I mean, he had a mansion in Chicago, and he was really at that time doesn't like the Lord Fauntleroy character he plays now. He was like a real die-in-the-wood news guy, just starting out. He was always working on the magazine.
He's a movie nut too. Last year, May 14th, I believe it was, I was invited to the Playboy Mansion on Channing Cross. The only time I ever went to the Playboy Club, and he played Mean Streets, which I was in. And he came down those stairs, and he's shorter than I imagined. He's hard of hearing. And they take your photo with him. And I went around the grounds. He's the only person in LA who has a zoo license. And then, he knows quite a bit. I told him, thank you for ponying up the money to help save the
Hollywood sign.
He said, where were the studios? Which he has a point, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he always has been a total movie nut, which is good, right?
I wrote the joke for the first Playboy magazine, the first issue that came out. And at that time, credit cards had just come out. And it was new to everybody. And it said, and imagine how long ago, if this joke was effective, a guy ran up a bill for $2,000 on his Diners Club, and he charged it to his American Express. And now people are existing like that.
Oh, sure.
They fill
bouncing
it,
around.
They charge it to the American Express, and they charge it to the master charge. Yeah, that's too much.
I never had a credit card until about 5 years ago. And then my wife was in the hospital, so she said, we better get you a credit card. So I got a credit card. I never had a checking account until about 10 years ago. I had a checking account when I was 11 when I had a paper route, and then I never had one before. So,
So what'd you do? Go to payday loans or something to cash a check?
I go up to the Great Western and use the bank as like a billfold. But
Yeah.
we have never paid interest.
Yeah.
Every time we get the bill, we pay. We never pay interest.
That was funny.
But you know, the banks call you a deadbeat.
Good.
Yeah, because you don't pay them any interest.
You mentioned bank, and I think it was yesterday or the day before in the show we were talking about the Copacabana, and I had this great story where we were told when we played the Copacabana that you never talk to the owner. He was a tough guy, and he didn't want, you only
Do you
talk
want a
to him.
box for this?
You only talk to him if he talks to you. And the whole week I worked, I was terrified when Jules Padell walked by me. He had this reputation. And I finally finished the week. I got my check. And I go over to the bar. He's sitting at the bar and he's having a drink by himself. And I don't know how you don't disturb Mr. Padell. But I think I'm still part of the human race. And I say, excuse me, Mr. Padell. And his face turns up to me with such power and arrogance. What do you want?
Butter.
No,
And
it's
I
not
said,
necessary. You can just grab a check and get ready to run.
I just got my check from the comptroller, and I was wondering, could I cash my check with you at the bar? And he says, hey, look around. You see any tellers? You see anybody wearing little caps? Huh? This is a nightclub. It's not a bank. You know? I'm not here to cash your checks.
Thank you, Felix.
You got a check, you find a way to cash it. I said, well, I said, all right, cash the kid's check. Have a drink. But he scared me, man. He scared me. He didn't like me because at that time I was on the road with Johnny Mathis, and working with Johnny, I felt a little more up to date, and I was wearing a sport jacket and slacks, and I didn't know that it was a tradition that when you first went to Copacabana, you wore a tuxedo.
Did you ever go high jumping with Johnny Mathis?
Oh,
High jumping.
he was a
That's right. He used to be an athlete, wasn't he?
No, he works out. He's great.
You know, of all those people, you know, who to me had the most beautiful voice, Sam Cooke.
Yeah.
And then another thing, once you hear Percy Sledge sing "When a Man Loves a Woman,"
Yeah.
what more can you say?
But
That's right.
You know, hanging around with a guy like Johnny was very interesting. I was with him for 6 years, and I remember when they bought a building. They bought a building on Fifth Avenue. And he said one day, we were in town, he said, let's go take a look at the building. So we go over to this building, and it's a beautiful building with a doorman, and Johnny gets so excited that he bought the building, because he was a very, very young guy. He just grabs onto the awning, and he swings around the awning, and goes, hey, get off that awning. And he's talking to him like he's some bum, you know. And I said, yeah, the man owns the building, you know.
I used to like 12th of Never. You ask how long I'll love you, I'll tell you. Until the 12th of Never, I'll still be loving you. Listen, I noticed that David and you and me are all wearing denim.
Yeah. Well, we're
we
sponsored by
merging?
Wrangler Jeans.
Are we
you see.
merging with each other?
Yeah.
Well, I hope we'll get a job. There's something honest, sincere, and earthy about denim. That a man in denim is a man that's either worked hard and honest for a living, or is going to work hard and honest for a living.
I think it was created for miners, wasn't it, in the 1800s? That,
It was connected with work, but it was connected
they were-
with honest, sincere work.
and my dad called them dungarees. They had them in the Navy, you know, for swabbing decks.
When I was young, we all wore Levi's. We were
Yeah.
like $3.75. In my little town, there were the athletes. I was on the basketball team and baseball. There was about 6 or 7 guys that were like the heroes, and they set the dress code. You know, jeans, Levi's, loafers, you know, t-shirt, leather sweater. And if you didn't dress like they did, they would put you down.
It beat you up.
In
No, they wouldn't beat you up.
Manhattan,
They'd just close ranks.
In Manhattan, when I was a kid, we would, geez, that was for squares, that was for hayseeds. We wore peg pants, we wore like fedora hats, those gangster hats, those big hats we wore, ties, jeans, man, that was for squares. That was for guys like you from
For the
Heartland.
Midwest, yeah.
You used one line in your poem that really stuck in my brain. It was about the daffodils. Are your daffodils?
Yeah, the wheat were the daffodils of my youth.
Yeah, wheat were the daffodils of my youth. That's why. I didn't know.
I grew up with surrounded by three.
I didn't know what a daffodil, a rose, or anything looked in New York. Everything was.
Because when we were young, remember that wasn't there a poem by Wordsworth, somebody about daffodils? You know, something.
I know.
You can always tell when somebody doesn't know anything about poetry because you ask them about Joyce Kilmer and they'll think it was a woman. Remember that poem about nothing beautiful as a tree?
Yeah, they think it's Val Kilmer's mother.
They think it's a woman, Joyce Kilmer. You know they don't know anything about poetry.
Well, poetry, that's...
David, I like what you said yesterday about the colors and arls.
Yeah.
He knows a lot about painting. He's
Well,
a wonderful artist.
He makes a line and I make a line, and some of his line is just right. My line is just a little off, and they just never go off, and they do it fast. Man.
He's a freehand draftsman.
He's a freehand
Exactly.
draftsman.
Well, you never draw a line, you just make a line.
And I always tried to impress the teacher that first day to give us our book up. We had to write property of Don Sherman, and I always screw that up. And I had to tear out that first page, and the first page loses the binding. And before I know it, I lost up the notebook.
Let me know when you're ready.
And from then on, the rest of the term was downhill. School was tough for me, but not because I didn't want to learn. I really wanted to learn, but I had to like the teacher. It had to make sense to me.
I always liked my freshman civics teacher, Carl Krause. He used to say, write your speeches clear, concise, and to the point. And I won 3, in my time, they used to have a contest called I Speak for Democracy, and you'd write a 10-minute speech. Usually it was a rant against communism, and then you give your speech, you win a savings bond, then you go to regional, I won that, and then you go to state. And I won when I was a sophomore, junior, and senior.
Well, you're a very patriotic guy. You enlisted in the Navy?
Yeah. Here's what I did one time. I was doing 2 commercials for Norman Lear. Jonathan Demme was directing them. And I looked right at Norman Lear and I said, sometime I'd like to look right in the camera and say, I'll never let the American flag touch the ground.
You like that wink.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you, Robert.
You guys.
See you,
Great day, Robert. We're just saying goodbye to Robert Forster.
Robert Forster, for 27 years, has made the table here at the Silver Spoon.
He's one of the best-hearted people there
and he's a really wonderful actor.
I should say there is.
And a great guy.
The eternal optimist.
He's gone now, so
He's left the room.
Yes.
The patio, actually. Remember, folks, we're talking to you from Los Angeles. Outdoors.
California. It's a little chilly, but for California.
Yeah,
I noticed that Don really has a lot of vitality today, huh?
I thought I caught a cold yesterday. That's what I was worried about.
Don is effervescent today.
Yeah, thank God.
You're one of the greatest comedians the high seas have ever seen and heard.
Oh, I miss the high. I really like the high. I really like cruising. One, I like doing the act, and I like the mornings. I used to get up early in the morning all the time.
One thing I liked about that one DVD you did was when you talked about the people on the ship in the harbor. They took a boat in, then they took a bus over here, then they got on a boat, and they went out into the harbor and went around the ship and went back in. That was the harbor cruise.
That was the boat tour.
The boat tour.
They toured this boat.
Now, what is the pleasure? I have never been on a cruise, and I'll never go because I get
Cruise is
seasick.
really, really nice because the cruise, you just float along if you're smart. Float along with an experience. You just go along with what's happening.
Do they sell drugs on the cruise?
No. They're very careful about that.
Well, Anacin, aspirin,
drugs are everywhere.
Tylenol.
And even the title of drugs. I remember when drugs started to appear on television, they were telling people to do everything legitimately that people were doing illegitimately. So they were introducing the entire nation to legalize drugging. And drugging is just changing your state of mind, getting a different perspective on things, getting re-inspired.
Do you ever walk down a hallway or whatever you call it on a board ship and you smell people smoking reefer?
Yes, I did very often. And there used to be a lot of it, and gradually it decreased until they have like a zero tolerance. You know, I've seen busts on the ship where the guy's locked in his cabin and he can't go out, and they got to bring him his food.
Do they have police aboard the ship?
Yeah, sure. Oh yeah, they got that. And, they got a lot of guys from the Israeli Secret Service working on cruises.
And they call it the Love Boat.
The love boat. Well, love leads to friction, you know. Love doesn't go along smoothly like that. You know, love has ups and downs and excitement.
Two people love each other. It's a miracle. David and Judy, you and Maven, Holly and me. I'm thankful, you know, that I met her, and I know you guys are thankful you met your wives. But it's a miracle when two people, friendship or marriage, right?
It works out. It's great. Doesn't work out. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Because you're out there fighting the world, and you come home and you're fighting at home. You know, you need that recharging in the house. You need that inspiration in the house. You need that area that's yours, and you're the king of it, and you have your queen with you. That's life. You know?
Well, there's our word for marriage, and we're just coming to the end of our program today.
I hate when things end.
Yeah, you know, it's a sad ending. But hey, there's always tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
That's right.
Okay, to tomorrow.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, David.
Bye,
Harry.
David. I love your
Goodbye,
voice.
Don.
Your voice sounds better each day.
Every day I work on
Every
it.
day.
Okay.